Welcome back, guys. Back at it again with another reactions video. My name is Angel. Today I'm going to be reacting to the best Larrybird underdog story ever told. Now, I've never seen this video, so I don't know what it's going to be about. But Larrybird being an underdog, it's kind of crazy to me. So I'm kind of intrigued with the video. Before watching the video, you guys, let me know what you guys think is the greatest Larrybird underdog story. Or if it's the same one as we're about to see in the video. Let me know down in the comments, and let's get to the video.
Once upon a time, there was a rivalry in the 80s even bigger than Celtics versus Lakers, and even more intense than Celtics versus Pistons.
Really?
I bet you wouldn't believe me. But for 3 years in a row, the Eastern Conference Finals was a dogfight between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Long before Celtics Lakers, it was Celtics Sixers.
One of the most intense rivalries ever, as you see Mark Ivoroni and Larry Bird go at it in this game. Larry asked if he's going to be thrown out, and he decided he's going to get his licks in before he left.
I think in terms of the ultimate.
There's Dr. J trying to hold Bird. Bird retaliates, and there is
yeah. And look at
Jay hitting Bird as he's being held from behind by Barkley and Moses Malone.
Hey, can you guys let me know down in the comments what were the repercussions of that fight? Like, Larry, what is it? The center from Philadelphia, Moses Malone, is holding him on a neck, like chokehold, and you got Dr. J punching him. Like, what were the repercussions back then? Just a fine, no suspensions? And then Barkley, I don't know what he did. Probably holding him as well, but let me know down in the comments.
There's no greater time in basketball that I've ever had other than going out and beating the 76ers.
And in the 1981 Eastern Conference Finals, they had a battle for the ages in what many experts have called the greatest playoff series of all time.
Is the Celtics 76ers 1981 series still the greatest, or is there something that surpassed it? I think I remember like the Bulls and the Celtics with like Ben Gordon, you got like Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG when they joined the Celtics, and then you had like Ben Gordon, Kirk Heinrich, and I think prime Derrick Rose, like rookie Derrick Rose. I think that series was pretty amazing, but is this series still the best? Let me know down in the comments.
This is the greatest series I've ever played in my opinion, maybe the greatest series leading up to a championship that two teams ever had to play.
Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics were facing the MVP of the league, Dr. J, and the Philadelphia 76ers, the team with the best record in the league. And to make matters worse, Boston had not won a single game in Philadelphia in almost 3 years because the 76ers were stacked with a team full of Hall of Famers.
Well, start out with the Hall of Famers they had over there. Start out with Dr. J, Bobby Jones. Maurice Cheeks was the starting guard, became a Hall of Famer. Caldwell Jones, the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney, Daryl Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins was like Shaq, you know, just strong and big, and coached well by Billy Cunningham.
Dude, that's a super team. Like, kind of curious what the end result ended up being.
We're so tough.
Just 1 year earlier, a rookie Larry Bird led the Boston Celtics to the greatest single-season turnaround in NBA history. One man took the second worst team in the league from 29 wins to a 62-win championship contender overnight. Unfortunately, the Celtics lost in the conference finals to this same Philadelphia 76ers team, sparking a rivalry that would have them battling for Eastern Conference supremacy for the next 6 years.
Let me know, guys, on the comments down below if any of you still have those Sports Illustrated books. Because man, oh man, how much they would cost right now. But also too, just as a collector, that'd be amazing to have.
Years. And the following season, it was looking like deja vu all over again.
So in '81, we win the first game up in Boston. Then you guys come back and win game 2.
Irving putting the moves on McHale.
And we play a really tight game down there in Philly, and we lose.
Philadelphia has been magnificent, and that game is over.
We lose game 4, and I'm like, ooh, this isn't good.
6 seconds to go. Boston doesn't call time. Archibald intercepted by Bobby Jones, and the game is over.
It's a tight one-possession game, and Bobby Jones does what he does, makes a great defensive play. That allowed you guys to win game 4 and go up 3-1.
the dreaded 3-1 deficit. In the history of the entire NBA, teams that go up 3-1 in a best-of-7 series are 258-13. That's a winning percentage of 95.2%. So the chances of Larry Bird and the Celtics coming back to win this series was at 4.8%. And for teams that go down 3-1 and win the championship, their chances drop down to 1.5%. So at this point, to say that Larry Bird was an underdog is an understatement.
I wasn't the type of guy to take stuff for granted. 3-1, I mean, it felt good, but it was by no means a foregone conclusion.
A desperate situation for the Celtics. Game number 5 of this Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics must win 3 straight.
In Game 5, the Celtics were losing by 10 points with only 6 minutes left in the game. And with the season on the line, Larry Bird took matters into his own hands.
Larry going to work offensively. One-handed.
That's tough. That's tough.
Balance play by Larry Bird, who does every aspect. And McHale, they're going with their starters. As Larry Bird on a turnaround hits the jump shot. Andrew Toney's shot, no good. Bird the rebound. He's taking matters into his own hands, Kevin. McHale, though, with the offensive rebound. He misses. Bird, he's got it.
He's all over the place.
Pointed out Caldwell Jones in there. Going to the hoop. Bird, he could not be denied. Larry Bird brings the Celtics to win 1 point.
This clutch bucket was the last field goal of the game. Some defensive stops and a couple free throws later, the Celtics won Game 5 by only 2 points.
All right, here it is. 1 second. Boston up by 2. Trying to go to Philly for Game 6. Intercepted. It's over. The Boston Celtics, who are down by 6 points with 1:28 to go. But Bird came back in the final crucial moments and did it when he had to do it.
And going in Boston, losing the next game, you had one to play with, but, coming into Philly, it's like, man, you have to feel good coming home.
Coming down to your place, I remember this is it. I mean, Game 6, we're going back to Philly.
Oh, it doesn't take long to get caught in this rivalry. I think it's one of the best rivalries in sports. You go out there and you compete, and you got to play so well to win. It just demands a lot out of you. And when the series is over, I think both teams can look back and say, hey, we gave it our best shot.
They know that they haven't won in 10 tries here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and that's why they want to go back to Boston, winning this afternoon.
We got into a dogfight. Back and forth.
Back and forth, exactly.
Back and forth.
The Celtics trying to break a jinx here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. They need to do it to force Game 7.
By the second half of Game 6, the Celtics were losing by as much as 17 points. But more Larry Bird heroics turned this game into one of the greatest playoff games in NBA history, because Boston stormed back and were willing to fight anyone that stepped in their way, even if you were just a fan in the crowd.
Harris with a turnaround in the lane. No good. Maxwell and Dawkins going at it, and now Maxwell goes into a foul. And goes after
Yo, Maxwell's crazy.
And there's Bedlam in the stands here, and Bill Fish is over there. Someone said something to Maxwell, and he went in with a vengeance.
I got knocked into the crowd, and when I got knocked into the crowd, some guy was saying something to me like, get back in the damn game. So I jumped over the photographer, and then it registered in my mind what he had said. As soon as he said that, I re-jumped back over and went into the stands with a flying forearm. At that time, it galvanized all our players together. It could have been all these people against us, and we were going to go down together. And at that particular point, the great Dave Zinkoff, who was the public address announcer for Philadelphia, comes on when we're down by 17 and says to the crowd, tickets go on sale for the championship game right after this. Oh my God, everybody looked at each other and went, are you kidding me? This guy already said that. And then it was on like popcorn then. We were down 17, almost before half. By the time we had our foot square in their behind after they were doing the celebration, we were down by only 5 points.
Tiny tries to drive. Bird, rebound, basket, good, and a foul. Like a McHale, Bird, Maxwell, ML Carr, and Archibald. Looping shot by Larry Bird. for Larry Bird, and the Celtics lead 84-83.
As Larry Bird leads the comeback with 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 assists, he once again hits the last clutch bucket of the game.
Bird out to Tiny with 8 seconds on the shot clock. Bobby Jones is on him on a defensive switch. Hollins on Bird. Larry Bird shot. Drops for him. Look at that shot.
This shot put the Celtics up by 3 points. One defensive stop and a pair of free throws later helps Boston finally win a game in Philadelphia.
Dude, this guy, this team, they're down 17 in a must-win game on the road. You've been 0-10. You haven't beat this team in forever at their place. And you just got that dog in you, and you guys come back and win. Man, that's a performance. Dude, they're fighting everybody and anybody. Bird's different.
Something they hadn't done in nearly 3 years.
Dawkins and Caldwell Jones, and that'll do it. The game is over. Boston has won. Only 3 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit to force a 7th and win a 7th game. And the first time in 12 games, the Boston Celtics have defeated the Philadelphia 76ers.
And after that game, Kevin McHale called what happened next his most favorite moment of his entire career.
Kevin McHale, what is your favorite NBA moment?
Ooh. I would say 81, Game 6. We were in Philly, and we were down 3-1, and we won Game 5 in Boston to go 3-2. And we beat them on a last-second play where Tony's driving in, and we get a block, got my hand on the ball, and we win the game. And go back to Boston, and there's people like there's like I didn't realize that, because I'm new to Boston. It's my first year being out there. I come from northern Minnesota, small mining town, played at the University of Minnesota. I didn't realize that Boston and Philadelphia hated each other sports-wise. I mean, hated each other. So we get back that night, and there's people. There's a crowd. I mean, there's people at the airport. And this is game. We haven't won anything. We still have Game 7 to go. And they were the whole city was like electric. And then Game 7 in the arena. When I walked in, I got chills because the people were all standing up cheering. 18 minutes before the game, we went out to warm up. There wasn't an empty seat, and they stood the whole game.
That's fans for you right there.
Yelled and screamed. No dancing girls, no nothing. And Oregon going, and it was the most unbelievable environment you've ever seen. The building shook.
I was at that game. I was at all those games. And Game 7, to this day, is the best basketball game I've ever been to. That was the only game I've been to, I've written about this, where the refs were just like, guys, you settle this. Guys are on the floor every play. There's 3 guys getting knocked down. It was like a rugby match. And I've just never seen a game like that. I don't think that game would happen again. There would have been about 20 flagrant fouls.
The Philadelphia 76ers, they have to be wondering about the fact that they had the Celtics put away. And all the Celtics wanted to do was win one at a time. Red Auerbach told me before the game, Kevin, it's not so much saying you got to win 3 games, but to tell your team they have to beat us one more time.
That was the championship game. Whoever won that series between Philly and Boston, and Philly being up 3-1, and you getting them back to Boston for Game 7, whoever won that particular night, we knew that either one of those teams, Philly or Boston, could beat Houston. So that was the championship game that particular night.
Chris Ford, this is from the corner. Larry Bird, the rebound. That's what Boston has done to Philadelphia. Dominate the offensive board. Parrish doing to Dawkins what he did to him, but misses. But Larry Bird.
What a box out by Larry.
And the next time. Tiny to Ford. Larry Bird, 3-point play.
Can't give him any space.
If anything could ignite a crowd and ignite a team, a 3-point play by their best player is the safest way to do it.
And just like the previous 4 games, Game 7 went down to the wire. And with the tie game, with 1 minute left on the clock, Larry Bird does what Larry Bird did the entire series in the clutch.
Irving setting up for something. Fakes. Low into Dawkins. Double team. Dawkins goes in. Misses. Here comes Bird out of the pack.
Bird's coming to the left. Stop and pop off the glass. It's gone. Boston leads
Played defense, got the rebound, and scored the bucket.
And the pass hits the top of the backboard, and it's over.
Philadelphia's got like the worst inbounders in history. What is that?
It's all over.
What a comeback.
This place is a madhouse.
This game-winning jump shot helped Larry Bird versus a team with 3 Hall of Famers on their roster pull off the greatest 3-1 comeback of all time. Because the 1981 Eastern Conference Finals remains the only series in NBA history in which 5 games were decided by 2 points or less. The Celtics won Game 5 by 2 points, Game 6 by 2 points, and Game 7 by 1 point. Each game literally went down to the last second. Now that is the definition of clutch.
Because we did win a lot of 1-2 point games. It just seemed like every time you look up the clock, we had a 1 point lead and there's 1 second on the clock and they had the ball. It was them type of games where all the emotion, all the adrenaline, and everybody was just flowing and everything was just going to perfection at the end of the game. That was probably the best games I ever played in my life. It was a 7-game series and every one of them was just full of excitement.
Only 4 teams in the history of the NBA have ever come back from down 3-1 in a series and went on to win the championship. Bill Russell's Boston Celtics in 1968, Hakeem Olajuwon's Houston Rockets in 1995, LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, and Larry Bird's Boston Celtics in 1981. Yes, Larry Bird, in only his 2nd NBA season, won his first championship that year. So if anybody ever tries to convince you that a great player couldn't win a title in his first 5 years because he was too young or didn't have enough help, tell him that Larry Bird took the 2nd worst team in the league to an NBA title in only 2 years.
All right.
No excuses.
Guys, well, that concludes that video of Larry Bird. I mean, what can I say? The man's, to me, unbiased. As a Laker fan, as a Kobe fan, unbiased. Larry Bird, to me, is the 2nd greatest basketball player. He honestly does have an argument for number 1. And the only reason I would say an argument would be because in his prime, when he faced Jordan and he was still healthy enough, Jordan didn't win any titles. But the moment he got injured and got older, that's when Jordan started winning titles. Obviously, I said it's an arguable argument. Jordan's still the GOAT because of the way things turned out. But Larry Bird is too. And that's a lock for me. Let me know down in the comments where you guys have Larry Bird ranked. What other crazy stories is there to react to of Larry Bird? I mean, this man is just... Nothing surprises me anymore with this guy. I mean, that video was just spectacular. It was... I didn't know any of that stuff, and that was pretty cool. Now that I know. If you guys like the content, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what other videos to react to. See you on the next one.